Welcome back to Politics Nation. It's been 39 days since 17-year-old Trayvon Martin lost his life, and the questions surrounding the mystery are still swirling. What happened in the minutes leading up to the fatal shot? What are investigators finding at the scene? And the question I'm still asking, why was Zimmerman let go? Joining me now is the one and only Star Jones, former New York City homicide prosecutor, TV personality, and co-host of today's Professionals on NBC's Today Show. She's been following the Trayvon Martin story and joins us tonight with a legal perspective on the case. It's great to have you here, Star.
I'm glad to be here, Reverend.
If you were the lead prosecutor in this case, what kind of evidence would you point to for a charge against George Zimmerman?
And just for the purposes of arrest, a prosecutor would look to any physical piece of evidence, any eyewitness, any ear witness, any injuries that were on or were not on Mr. Zimmerman. We would look to the hands of the victim of Trayvon Martin. We would look for any empirical evidence that would suggest that Mr. Zimmerman had probably committed a crime. Not a specific crime, a crime. That is really the only standard that the police should have been using that night.
So if he appeared to have probably committed a crime, that's all you needed to arrest?
That's all you really need to effectuate an arrest in a criminal case.
When you hear that he says his nose was broke, his father says it, yet there's nothing written saying that, they turned an ambulance back, all of that, does this not, if you were the prosecutor, doesn't that not undermine a self-defense decision right on the spot by police?
Well, the fact that I'm even dealing with a self-defense issue right on the spot tells me that something was a little awry. A suspect in a situation that does not have injuries visible to me, right. If I don't have photographs of those injuries, if in fact he decides not to go with the ambulance at the time an ambulance is provided for him, that's all empirical evidence that suggests to me that there was not an altercation, and therefore additional investigation needs to be ongoing. And that's where I think the real breakdown in this case was. The initial investigation at the scene. We have not seen what the police have. We've only seen that preliminary report, and I've looked over that report with a fine-tooth comb. I was concerned that at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:07 I think it was, they had Trayvon Martin's name, address, and phone number, except I didn't get that the family was actually notified that Trayvon Martin was dead and needed to be identified until many, many, many hours later, almost 24 hours later.
And then held the body for 3 days.
So I'm just questioning, what was the police doing? As a former New York City prosecutor, you know, Al, that we have walked into situations where I've put cases into the grand jury, very serious, intense media scrutiny cases. I put the Crown Heights case into the grand jury here in New York. The questions that you're going to be asked as a prosecutor, especially when there's media attention, is whether or not this defendant's rights are being upheld, and whether or not you're representing the victim. You want to make sure due process takes place, but by the same token, you want to be a victim's advocate. There's a dead 17-year-old, and at some point, I think someone should have asked some deeper questions.
Now, you have the 911 call, and some have questioned, and we've questioned on the show, don't know what he's saying, that George